This that
Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that
Red Panda Anthem.
Rap Panda, what's good?
Red Panda Anthem.
What are your thoughts on the interview with Floyd Mayweather?
You want my honest opinion?
Yes.
I think, and I said it on stage, because some people are like, oh, he's capping or he's not answering. I'm like, there were some answers that he chose not to give. And this has happened before with Dave Rubenstein when I asked about daily routine and work ethic. This happened with Josh Brown. I think Cuban kind of skated one question, right? I think there were some things he didn't want to answer because he didn't want publicly known. And also as an investor, this is the truth for everyone listening. It is no one's job on earth to give you their secrets to make you rich if it took them 10 to 15 years to make them rich. I'm the only idiot that does it. And as soon as Morgan Stanley signs this deal, that'd be over with too. Or Meta, whoever comes first. So I've never known a person to give so much and then get hated for it. I'm like, what? They're like, yo, the rants bother you? I gave you ideas to make millions. What? Okay. So I think he showed the road some questions, but I think from as big as his brand is, and we're seeing it happen in real time, which I told everyone it would. But Tom Brady, Giselle, everyone who endorsed FTX is getting sued. Now, a lot of creators and celebrities that backed NFTs last year when I told everyone they would crash are now getting sued. Because if you don't know who the executives are of these projects or tokens or coins, you're going to go to the biggest and highest name profile. So let's say he was investing in a company that was like $40 to $80 a share. He can move the market because we would have seen academics please tag us next time. I love you. I know it's probably your team, but when it gets reposted, it's going to be like, well, Floyd invested in this company and you should. And if it doesn't work out, he's going to be the one to get sued. So I understood it around those questions. But I want to ask you guys, what did you think of the interview?
I'm gonna go with you on the shoulder roll, but I think context is key. Like some things make headlines and some things are context. And so to an uneducated audience, when somebody says like, I'm gonna make $300 million a month on my next investment, it feels like he's saying that he's personally gonna do it. To a more educated audience, which is what we have here, and that's our job, is to educate people, is to say, all right, well, he's part of an investment group, right? Which is invested into a project that could generate $300 million a month. Well, that sounds like, so how can we even fathom that? Well, the next week when you hear that MGM is trying to put a casino in the middle of Times Square and he's part of the group that's investing in that, 300 million doesn't seem like that's something that's far-fetched. Well, if he's part of the group, then yeah, that's his investment that he's making. Is he making all the 300? No, but context is that he's an owner in that. It's the same type of context when we're talking about the 9 skyscrapers. Like people are like, well, how does he own 9 skyscrapers? Well, if you do the research on CGI, who he made a $250 million investment with, he's part of the investment group that owns these buildings. And so if he's part of the investment group, is that his investment? Yeah, so the context around the answers is important. It's key. I'm sure, Floyd likes to make a scene. So when he says these things, it's like, all right, well, it's me. I'm the money guy, right? But when you look at it, it's like, all right, well, yeah, that's true, but let's put that into context. Yes, he's in part of an investment group, and there's no shame in that. He's an owner in that. And he feels he should speak in those terms.
I mean, if Revolt throw 900 million at y'all tomorrow, you get it right to say, man, we came up on 900 million.
Exactly.
Even from tax, and he said it on stage. He's like, hey, I use the negative energy, which is a trauma response, is why I asked him, like, how do you steer away from that? Because that can't be a driving force. Notice he was very vulnerable in that interview. He didn't turn that energy on until he got the feedback from the audience. I was very mindful of like how his energy shifted to like, okay, if y'all want to go there, because let's be real. And I know people be like, well, they're murderers who have more money and it shouldn't matter. But like when a person has more money than me, I shut up and ask questions. He doesn't have to tell you what fucking stock he was investing in that he's making 100 Rand a month off of. Doesn't have to. But you have to be mindful when talking to people. And I'll say this too, and it's not to kiss ass or brown nose anybody, but you don't know if his team will go back and watch the footage and find out who that is and block you out of deals. I said all the time, Michael Backner came on, didn't like the commentary. turned his head to act like he wasn't bothered and acted like he didn't watch the game, then a lot of you who went to go apply for jobs in other industries in the finance space found out that you were blacklisted from getting a job anywhere. Charlemagne always says it. You cannot be mad at anyone's response to your attack. Be mindful. So, and Rashad tell y'all every week, speak with grace, be humble, and right. Some of y'all listen, some of y'all don't. Me and Keys made an adjustment, right? But you don't know how people are looking at you. And I tell people in Red Panda all the time, like even before I started going to the exchange, they was looking through everybody who had Red Panda in their bio on IG for months before I got there. So be careful and be mindful. I think he did show the roll a couple things, but I do understand why some of the information he probably steered away from. But kudos to the champ for doing it. Like, that's still a legend. I think we've gotten so accustomed to having people on that we don't understand how hard it is and to make this work. So whether people love the interview or not, I think you should. But when a person has amassed that kind of fortune, and the fact is he's still working on his craft every day. If I can be honest, man, a lot of the questions people ask, those would go away if you just did the fucking work. He's still in shape. Shaw told the story. Hey, outside Fontainebleau, Miami. I remember when he texted me that night, like, oh, I just saw Floyd run. It was 2:00 in the morning. Do the work. I know y'all think the traveling part is fun and carrying the Pelican bags and having, it's not fun. This is what it takes. People are like, damn, you on the road again in New York? The money's in New York, London, and Australia and LA. I got to go to where the money, I can't get all the money out of Idaho or Omaha. Buffett has not called me yet. You have to travel to where the money is.
Even what you're saying, and I know Shai's going to go in a sec, but like people are looking at these exhibition fights that he's taking, and they're like, oh, what is he doing them for? And it's like, well, do you know how to get $15 million in 9 minutes? He does.
Best trade ever. When he said that,
Right,
I'm like, you're the greatest trader.
But on top of it, right, there's a tax incentive, there's a tax play that's involved in that, and he's obviously doing a lot of development deals out there. So there's a reason why he's out there. He's not just out there, obviously, to practice his craft and make a quick 15 to 20 million. That's incredible. But he's also out there making business deals too. So that's a part of it. Like people have to realize, like, and when we were out in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai, we saw the level of development and where they're going with the development. They're not done. Right, there's places that are still untapped. We saw what's happening in Saudi Arabia over the past couple of weeks. Obviously, when Khaled and Swiss, shout out to Swiss, because Swiss has been going to Saudi Arabia for the past 2 to 3 years, and people were just like, "What is he doing? He's buying camels. He's camel racing." No, he's building infrastructure out there, and he's making it a place where people want to come and need to come so they can see it for themselves as an investment opportunity. But people should be looking at Floyd in the same way, rather than saying like, he's taking exhibition fights with YouTubers. Yeah, I mean, and also part of it.
And if he's still a draw internationally, and going back to taking credit for what you've done, he was very clear on not being labeled as a king of Vegas. I'm an international draw, because who knows how that may affect his deal. So if he can draw, let's say 20,000 people for a fight, it gives you a little bit more leverage in the land deals that I'm sure he's trying to do, or the commercial deals. I went to that one tower. Amazing, beautiful. Now, if he can create one of those out there, and then maybe another one in London, another one in China, now you have a massive portfolio, and he's used his celebrity to draw more money into commercial deals. Like, and even in those instances, I'm sure he had to do a deal with the tourism board to do something over there. You're not just gonna come over here and bop all these buildings and then bring your 9 women over here. Like, everyone, there's levels to this. You on every level. You have to earn your keep. Like, there isn't a person that I have not met on the street that I don't feel that I can't outtrade. Guess what, though? Even learning how to make it in that seat to trade, that's a different skill set. It's not just one. Going back to being super efficient, can you do the job of 10 people? And once I get this niceness down and I listen to Rashad about being politically correct and not upset nobody, baby, y'all in trouble. Y'all got about 2 more months. I'm doing my little media training.
Game over.
Game, set, match.
I think it's important to understand, especially like, I feel like when you come to an event, we just did an event at Howard, we'll talk about that at the end, but like when you come to an event, whether it's Market Mondays, whether it's Art Basel, whether it's Invest Fest, any event that we've been able to curate or been a part of, there's 3 parts to it. There's an educational part to it, there's an inspirational part to it, and then there's a motivational part to it. And what I realized is that you need all 3, because if you just provide just information, people, they say, only retain probably 5% of the information that they receive at live events. So it's like you could just talk for 4 hours of just straight information, and you probably won't remember 95% of it.
Absolutely.
And this is why, even like, I've been to church one time in my life. I had a client that was a pastor. Rest in peace to her.
Wait, you've only been to church once?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm not Christian. I didn't grow up Christian, so there was no need for me to go to
Okay,
church.
I don't know. Okay.
But when I did go to church, it was interesting experience, because it was a lot of singing, dancing. It was like, Baptist church, and it was only preaching for probably 15% of the time, and the rest of it was more of a show. But I understand it, because it's like you get people's attention, and you have to keep them energized, and you have to keep them, it's a production. So for them to actually be able to understand what you're preaching.
Yeah.
So I say that to say, everything at the show is not just for just educational purposes. Like, Don Peebles came on, and that was 25, 30 minutes of just straight information, actionable items, where you can actually go outside today and break that down. And we'll probably put that out too at some point, but it was like he gave 5 cities of where you, as an investor right now, can go to those 5 cities, and in his opinion, those are 5 cities that are beneficial. Then he went so far to actually say why they're beneficial from a tax standpoint, from an investment standpoint. He actually broke down, okay, this is how we're developing. This is the financing. So this is real actionable steps where he's extremely transparent, giving his blueprint, providing information in real time. Peter Tuckman providing information in real time. When we speak, when Ian speaks, when Troy speaks, providing information in real time. I think Floyd provided information in real time as well. But what you have to understand is that everybody has different levels of understanding and having a level of explanation. Some of the best things that you can actually do is align yourself with people that's smarter than you. And for him to work with somebody like Al Haymon, right?
Yeah.
That's some of the best gems that he gave was Al Haymon, the guy that I forgot his name, but the gentleman that he said schooled him on New York City skyscrapers, and actually got him in the investment deals as far as the skyscrapers. Like, if you listen, in everything that he says is aligned with somebody else.
Absolutely.
Like in Abu Dhabi and in Dubai, Al Haymon, the real estate, everything that he does, he's aligning himself with other people that are experts in the field. He's an expert in boxing, right? But that doesn't mean that he can't get money in other areas.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that he has to be an expert in other areas as well. Like, align yourself with good people, be able to benefit from their information, from their knowledge, and then you leverage what you bring. And he's changed the game in so many different aspects. Like I said, from 24/7 to, the money, the Floyd to Pretty Boy Floyd to Money Mayweather to the HBO deal, to the Showtime deal. So I just feel like, you're not going to get the same thing from every single person. Yeah. Every single person is not going to provide the same level of actually insight, but sometimes it's the inspiration. And even on social media clips, like those clips go viral because it's like, it's inspirational. It's inspirational. That's why those clips are going viral, because it's like, okay, Floyd owns 9 skyscrapers. There's not really a lot of context behind that, but it's
the achievement alone is enough, though.
Oh, exactly. So and physically, sometimes you just got to be in an environment. Sometimes you just got to be in an environment where you're motivated. Now you mix that motivation with information. Now it's like a fire.
This that Red Panda Anthem.
Ian, what's up?
This that Red Panda Anthem.
Red Panda, what's
This
good?
that Red Panda Anthem.
Your
Whole
boy.
clip going up. I know they can't stand it.